how Andy Fang created DoorDash and became one of the youngest billionaires in the world. Rarely do the ideas you get in college last long enough to be successful, let alone make you a billionaire. Andy Fang felt the same when he started a delivery service from his dorm room with 3 of his friends at Stanford as a side project. In 2013, the group started by making the deliveries themselves. In 2020, at age 28, Andy Fang became among the world's youngest billionaires with an estimated net worth of $1.1 billion US. Here's how a side project grows into a mega successful delivery company. Andy Fang. The youngest of 4, born and raised near San Jose, Andy Fang was exposed to computer science at a young age. He graduated from a private school in Silicon Valley, the very heart of startups in America. Andy's journey with computer science began one summer when he was in elementary school, and his mother wanted him to pick up a new skill. He ended up taking a summer course in basic coding and the innovating bug Bit. After graduating from Harker School in 2010, Andy Fang got into Stanford, where he would meet one of his co-founders, Stanley Tang. Andy and Stanley would stay up late into the night in their dorm room, tinkering with new ideas and exploring web and mobile technologies. The two ended up creating a social calendar app with group messaging and encouraged their friends on campus to use the app. Nothing may have come of it, but it certainly built a foundation for what would come. Just before building their billion-dollar business, Andy and Stanley took a joint engineering and business school course called Startup Garage. And this is where they met the 3rd and 4th co-founders, Tony Zhu and Evan Moore. Their shared love for tech and helping small businesses encouraged them to start speaking with local businesses and restaurants to understand their pain points. Palo Alto Delivery. In their discussions with small business owners, the common pain point that arose among them all was rather surprising. By the beginning of 2013, Andy Fang, along with his 3 co-founders, had spoken with hundreds of small business owners throughout the Bay Area. They ventured from downtown Mountain View to Palo Alto to San Jose and everywhere across the South Bay. Turns out, they all faced issues with one thing: deliveries. It seemed odd that in the year 2013, delivery was still a problem for these restaurants, since most establishments, especially pizza places, had already figured this out. The group was not entirely convinced that this was a problem worth tackling, but after hearing about a macaroon shop owner turning down a request for delivery, they decided it was worth a shot. Within an hour, they put together a website which they named Palo Alto Delivery. The thought process was that when people searched for food delivery services in Palo Alto, the website would appear at the top of their search results. This was the beginning of a dramatic journey that led to the creation of DoorDash. The website was very simple. It had a few restaurant names with links to a PDF menu. You'd pick your food, call the number on the screen, and have your food within 60 minutes. The number was a Google Voice number that forwarded calls to all their phones. The idea was, when a customer called the Google Voice number, one of the team members acted as a dispatcher. Their job was to take the phone call from the customer, jot it down in a Google spreadsheet, and subsequently place a pickup order at the restaurant while the rest of the team acted as delivery drivers. Perhaps it wasn't the most efficient way to carry out the operation, but the point at this stage was just to see if people actually wanted a service like this. And within an hour of launching, the founders got their first phone call. It was for a prawn pad thai and spring rolls from a nearby Thai restaurant. Fang made the delivery himself, and the founders went on to make hundreds of deliveries over the next few months. This was all in the limited hours between 6 to 9 p.m. on weeknights, because after all, they were Stanford students. This stage also proved valuable as a learning experience for the team. One night, when the rest of the founders were busy with exams, Andy was alone. That night, his job was to take the calls and jot down the orders on a napkin, all while delivering the orders. It was a difficult task, but it helped him refine his process and learn the nuances of starting a delivery company. With orders coming in every night and Palo Alto Delivery growing in popularity, it was getting tougher for the small team of 4 to keep up with the demand. It was time to scale up. DoorDash. In summer of 2013, Andy Fang was set up to go for an internship at a highly regarded startup, where he would be working with the co-founder of Facebook. It was not only an exciting opportunity for him career-wise, but he would also be making a decent sum of money and living in San Francisco. The other co-founders had also lined up their internships for the summer, and Tony was graduating from the Stanford School of Business. But seeing the success of Palo Alto Delivery in the last few months, Andy took a decision that would alter the course of his life. That summer, the company rebranded to DoorDash and applied to Y Combinator's Startup Accelerator program, a program that lasts 3 months and requires 100% commitment. And one day, the call came. They had been accepted. Now, he had a choice to make. Andy could either go for his internship and make $20,000 over the course of 3 months, which is a lot of money for a college student, or stay in his dorm building the app and make no more than $3,000 over the summer. It was an easy choice to make. DoorDash received $120,000 in seed money from Y Combinator for a 7% stake. At this point, they were all in. The team went from operating only on weekdays to operating every day. Even with the cash injection, DoorDash had its fair share of challenges. According to Andy, the hardest technical challenge was trying to get things out faster because they wanted to hit their next milestone. In trying to keep up with demand and speed up their working process, the team had to bet on people before they became credible because those were the only people willing to take a risk while not asking for much money. Did it cause hiccups in the system? Absolutely. In one such instance, DoorDash, which had been doing well and had picked up a lot of momentum, unexpectedly crashed one Friday night. The website was no longer loading, and nothing else was working save for the customer support line. The entire organization dropped their work to attend to these calls, while the founders worked with their engineers on a patch for the system. But that solution only lasted a week. However, the week after that, things started to break again, and we went through this cycle where things would break, we would push out a solution where things would look fine for a week, but the week after that, things went back to the original situation. It got to a point where a decision had to be taken. They would either go on like this and crash quickly, or they would put DoorDash in lockdown for a month and freeze all operations so they could focus on website reliability and infrastructure. So they shut down. For Andy, there was nothing more important right now than onboarding a world-class team of engineers to solve the problem. When speaking with his investors on how to build a competent team, he got advice he didn't want to hear. That DoorDash wasn't about technology and it didn't need technology as a core competency. Andy didn't agree. While the company didn't have the luxury of being picky about who they hired at this difficult time, Fang knew they had to focus on software, and only an expert team could get them out of their predicament. It was a risk, but he was right. DoorDash continued to face issues through 2016 and 2018 to raise funding, forcing the team to buckle down and become more fiscally responsible. But their focus on improving customer experience through a better, more reliable website helped them grow profitably despite the challenges. In fact, in 2018, DoorDash took over Uber Eats to hold the second spot in total delivery sales in the US, with Grubhub being number 1. By March of next year, it replaced Grubhub in the number 1 spot, and by mid-2019, DoorDash became the largest food delivery service in America. DoorDash IPO in 2020. As was the case with delivery services around the world, DoorDash's usage skyrocketed during the 2020 pandemic, and the company hit several milestones during this time. By June 2020, the company had raised over $2.5 billion in funding from several investors, including Y Combinator, SoftBank Group, and Khosla Ventures. In October 2020, DoorDash launched its Reopen for Delivery program to have brick-and-mortar restaurants that had to close due to the pandemic partner with ghost kitchens to offer food delivery and pickup-only services. The following month, DoorDash announced the opening of its first physical location, partnering up with Bay Area restaurant Burma Bites to offer delivery and pickup services. Now, there wouldn't be a better time to go public. So, finally, in December 2020, DoorDash became a public company via IPO at $182 a share, effectively raising $3.37 billion and making Andy Fang a billionaire at age 28. Lessons from Fang. Though it was a bumpy start, Andy Fang and his co-founders were able to scale Palo Alto Delivery into a multi-billion-dollar idea. Fang has 3 pieces of advice he gives to anybody hoping to found their own startup. First, don't create things that scale. While it sounds counterintuitive, The idea is to create something that won't grow so fast that you have no time to work out the kinks, understand the problems, and find a lasting solution. The quicker the company grows, the less time you have to catch up. Second, don't get attached to plans. The more stubborn you are about your idea, the harder it'll be for you to adapt. Andy Fang's decision to leave the internship he'd been looking forward to for the entire year to apply for a startup accelerator program became the best decision of his life, all because he was willing to let go of a plan. His team made several compromises in the pursuit of growing their company, and it wouldn't be $1 billion business if they weren't willing to adapt. And third, which is the most important, go with your gut. Had Andy listened to the investors who told him DoorDash didn't need software as a core competency, the company would likely still have been in lockdown. He went with his gut, and it worked out in his favor. Conclusion: in the end, you don't need money or an expert team to execute an idea. All you need is interest and time, along with a few friends who believe enough in the idea to put aside their plans and double down on making it a raging success. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and subscribe to the channel for more content on business and entrepreneurship. Thanks for watching.